The world statistics says that 80% of the people who are going through any sort of mental health issue, it could be loneliness, depression, or anxiety, or PCD, or whatever, one thing common between all of them is that they don't open up and they don't share their feelings and they keep everything within themselves. And that is where the actual problem starts. Now, when I met Tony a few months back in the gym, for me, he was just a normal guy till we got connected on Instagram, and that is where when I saw some of his posts and videos where he openly spoke about his depression and his mental health condition. And that thing completely moved me, that how much this guy has gone through, but more importantly what he has gone through. What surprised me was how beautifully he came out of that situation, and that is something to learn from him. And I'm sure when you listen to his story, you will get a different perspective towards life. So let me shut up now and then let me introduce you to my very good friend, Tony Enwezor.
Hi, my name is Tony Enwezor. I'm a personal trainer based in Milton Keynes. My style of training is just basically based on lifestyle because I'm just a normal person who kind of said to myself, I'm tired of looking like this and I want to look like this, I want to feel like this. I'm tired of feeling less confident and less motivated and looking, not appealing to myself to, wanting to look good, wanting to feel good in my own body and wanting to feel confident. And so when I take people on, when I train people, I want to train people based on what I have experience on. And so I'm that type of trainer. I'm not a sports-based person, I'm not a military style person, I'm not, any fancy training kind of guy. The reason why people relate to me a lot is because I'm just a normal average guy who just wanted to change himself. And that's just me. Mental health for me wasn't a thing that I thought about. It wasn't always on my mind. Anytime I felt a certain way, I'm so used to just, dealing with things on my own. And I'm the type of person who always speaks to myself. I always sort things out on myself. Sometimes the things that I say to myself are either good or bad, but I never really thought about it. I never really said, oh, you're speaking to yourself a certain way, or you're speaking to yourself this way. It was just me talking to myself. And over time, I just never understood. Over time, I just came to realize that all those things I was saying to myself was affecting the way I lived, the way I spoke to people, the way I dealt with things, the way my own perception of myself. And so, for example, if there was something that I wanted to do, I would, talk myself out of it. I wouldn't believe in myself. My perception of myself wasn't a confident style. It wasn't a confident person. I would say, you can't do it, And so, over time, just going through different experiences, I started kind of slowly picking up. I started slowly picking up what was going on in my life and what was going on in my head. It all started after my breakup, or during the process of the breakup, or maybe just after the breakup, because I'm the sort of person who takes my feelings and bottles it up, and I've done that prior to my breakup. I've done that for a long time. If I felt a certain way, I don't express myself. I just, collect it all, bottle it up, leave it in here, and I move on. And that's just how, from childhood, I was either brought up. I don't know, maybe I was brought up, but that's just how I've lived. And it wasn't until after the breakup that all those feelings came back again. And the first feeling I felt was anxiety. I was really anxious. And it was one of many things, to be honest, at that point, because the breakup was affecting the way I ran my business. It was affecting the way I trained people. It was affecting the way I spoke to people. And, things weren't moving well for me. And because I was so anxious about a whole lot of things, it led from that overthinking, as in, how am I going to move forward? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Where am I going to go from here, kind of thing. It went from that to, I was just sad and depressed. But, at that point, even during my breakup, I bottled everything up again and locked it up again, and I moved forward. And then the lockdown happened. The first lockdown was okay. I dealt with it all right. You know, I wasn't really feeling anything. Like most people were, you know, sad and, you know, they were all bottled up at home. Some people were alone, you know, some people really felt it, but I didn't feel anything. It wasn't until the second lockdown that I kind of felt different, because I'd stopped working at the gym. I stopped training a lot of face-to-face clients, which was literally my bread and butter. And, you know, I was doing a lot of online training and online coaching, but for some reason, I just didn't feel anything that, I didn't feel either good about myself, or I didn't feel like I was moving forward. I expected a whole lot of things for myself. I'm the sort of person that beats myself up a lot. If I feel like I haven't achieved what I set myself to achieve, that year was a year that I wanted to do something big, and because COVID happened and, you know, I felt stuck kind of thing, I just decided that I was gonna just cut everything off. And I just stopped for a while. For a month, I just didn't do anything. I didn't speak to clients. I didn't speak to anyone, my friends, my family. I didn't do anything. And, you know, I just stayed at home in my room, eating, Netflixing, doing a lot of nothing, to be honest. And I gained a lot of weight. I did this until April. 12th of April, I'd gained a whole lot of weight. I don't know how much I gained, but, you know, my stomach wasn't looking. I didn't look the part as a personal trainer, basically. 12th of April happened. I looked at myself in the mirror. I wasn't happy with the way I looked. I didn't want to look this way. I didn't want to feel the way I felt. And so I looked at myself in the mirror and I said to myself, this is not how you're going to look. You're never going to get back to this point. You're never going to be at this point again. And then I made a plan. Because for me, if I have a plan, I'm clear on that plan, I have focus. I build focus, or sort of focus. I know that I'm going to get from point A to point B. And I said to myself, how am I feeling? How do I feel about myself? What is your perception of yourself, and how do you want to feel about yourself? I want it to feel good. I want it to look good, because if I look good, I'm going to feel good, right? So I said to myself, I can't look like this anymore. I started going to the gym, and 8 months later, yeah, I didn't really track anything. I just wanted to go to the gym and just, you know, sort myself out. I went to the gym, started training, started, you know, lifting weights. I was training every day. And I felt really good, because I knew I was following a path that I wanted to follow. I knew I was on track. I knew I was focused. There was nothing distracting me, and it was really good. 8 months later, I'd leaned up, I'd built a bit more muscle. I looked good, and you can tell from my face, like I'd been focusing on myself. It was that kind of self-glow, self-care look. And I was happier, because not only did I look good, I felt good. I was more confident. I started opening up to a lot of people about, you know, where I am and where I was, because people hadn't seen me for a while. They were like, Tony, where have you been? What have you been doing, bro? Like, you haven't spoken to anyone, you haven't been picking up your calls. And I just opened up to them. I said, this is how I was feeling. This is really how I was feeling. And, you know, they kind of reached out and said, you should have said something. And, you know, I should have said something. And, you know, fast forward to now, I wouldn't say that, you know, I'm perfect. I wouldn't say that my mental issue, I wouldn't even call it a mental issue. My perception of that now, it's not that it's a mental issue. It's everything is a mental challenge, because you want to get from here to here. You're always going to go through some sort of mental challenge. The way I see it is, I have to overcome this challenge in order to feel better, or in order to, you know, progress, kind of thing. I want to get from point A to point B. Instead of overthinking the situation here, what I need to do is to take the next step, because I am an overthinker, and the best way to stop overthinking is by taking the next step. And, you know, that's all I've been doing. I wouldn't say again that I'm, you know, perfect, but I would say I'm progressing. And instead of focusing on perfection, instead of beating myself up all the time and saying, you know, everything has to be perfect, or you need to be at this level, I say, you just need to progress. And every day I feel like I'm progressing, because I'm taking the next step. I'm not looking at what anyone else is doing. I'm not comparing myself to anyone. I'm working with myself and not against myself. And I'm progressing. And this is where I am right now. From my experience, and I'm not going to talk to you guys about, you know, motivational videos, or I'm not going to say anything based on what I've not experienced. I'm going to tell you guys straight from, you know, what I've experienced. When it comes to, you know, everything that has to do in here, it's all about perception. You know, how you see yourself, how you see what you're going through, how you see your challenge. I always say to myself, the next level results requires next level, work. Or the next level work is also going to require next level challenge, whether it's physical challenge or mental challenge. And what I've learned from my experience is that you learn about yourself when you take time to focus on yourself, when you take time to focus on the things that are, either keeping you stagnant or, just not making you feel good. You get to talk to yourself and really ask yourself, like, what's wrong with me? Because when you speak to yourself, you really understand yourself. A lot of people go through, situations, and I understand because I've been in that position where, they don't know themselves, they don't understand themselves. And so they don't understand why they're going through what they're going through. What is it about you internally that is making you feel that way? It's not just about going to the gym. Let me be real with you. Going to the gym it's not really going to make you automatically feel super good. You can be a good looking person and be really fit, but you still have problems up here. If you don't sort this out, this is just going to be an external show that's just horrendous. Literally. Like, you can have you see people with good looking faces and their personalities are rubbish. You also got to sort out what's in here by speaking to yourself. I wouldn't say meditation. I really haven't meditated before. I'll say just speak to yourself. Try to understand yourself. Ask yourself why you're going through that thing, and say to yourself, the way I'm feeling right now, is it making me happy? Is it making me move forward? If it's making you move forward and if it's making you happy, then keep doing what you're doing. If it's not, then you got to take a step back and say, what is going to make me happy? Maybe it's spending time with yourself, taking yourself out, doing something nice for yourself. Let me just get into the whole self-love talk. Self-love talk it's the whole self-love thing. It's real. When you start to show yourself love, when you start to rely on yourself to love yourself, when you start to, I wouldn't say take yourself serious, but take yourself, start to love yourself, do things for yourself, then you start to feel good internally. Because when you love yourself and when you do good things for yourself, it's like you're starting to look after yourself. What is good for me? What is good for me and me only? For me, for example, what is good for me and me only? Going to the gym, eating right, hanging around with good friends, going out and spending time on my own. I wouldn't say reading a book because I don't like doing that. It doesn't make me super happy, but I feel calm. But, learn about yourself and what you like to do. That is key. Learn about yourself. If you don't know about yourself, you wouldn't know what is wrong with you. You wouldn't know why you are thinking the way you're thinking. And so you gotta learn yourself. I'd say learn yourself. And also understand that it's not about perfection. It's about progression. No one in this world is perfect apart from Jesus. Another thing is to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're always gonna sway. Figure out what you want, make a plan, and take the next step. Don't overthink where you are, just do. Take the next step and keep moving. My final message to anyone who's going through any mental health situation, whether it's gambling, drinking, fitness, anything you're going through, any situation you're going through. My mistake was bottling it up and not speaking to anyone, not talking to anyone about what I was going through, because I felt like, I could deal with things on my own. I'm an only child and I'm an introvert, and so that's what I'm kind of used to doing. Don't make the same mistake that I made. Speak to someone, whoever you feel comfortable speaking to, and if they don't know anything about it, that's fine. You can always, speak to a specialist. There's so many people who can, help you out. Speak to, even a stranger can help you out. You just someone that doesn't know you but has been through that situation can kind of help you out, can always relate to you. You'd be surprised, when I first spoke about my situation, how many people reached out on DMs and TikTok and all the whole social medias to kind of speak to me about what they were going through. And so don't bottle it up. Speak to someone. All right. That would be my last and final word.